Episode 12, The Path to Recovery. Welcome to Reviving Your Soul, where Christians are finding the courage to embrace their faith in all aspects of their lives so they can stop being bored or overwhelmed and begin to live the life in fulfillment and in peace that God created them for. I'm your host, Vanna Johnson. Let's get started. I have Michael Arnold here with me today, and I want to ask her a few questions. She's got a really unique and interesting path that she is on, and I met her at retreat last week, and I asked her if she would join us to tell us a little bit about what she's doing. And I just, first of all, Michael, just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you taking the time, and I more than that appreciate the work that you're doing. And I want to tell folks a little bit about that. So before we get into the work you're doing, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Vanna. I am so excited and grateful to be here with you this morning. And so, yes, my name is Michael Arnold, and I live in Colorado. And I would say the first thing about me is that I am a hurricane of happiness. I definitely am high energy, and it's a staple of how people get to know me. I just am go, go, go. And I'm also in recovery from drugs and alcohol. And I absolutely love the path that I have been able to create now through my coaching. I am also an identical twin. And so my twin sister is also a coach as well. And I have an older sister. And that's kind of like the baseline.
Oh, I absolutely love the hurricane of happiness. That is so beautiful. And I have to agree. We just met and connected instantly. And I have to say that perfectly describes you. How beautiful is that? So, can you tell us a little bit about how you discovered your path to coaching people through recovery?
Oh my goodness. Discovering this, I have to tell you, it was really divine. It was really divine intervention for me, Vanna. It really did come down to a God moment. And, it was one of those things, for my entire adult life, even, when I was younger, I always knew I had an addictive personality. I always knew that I drank more than all of my friends. And then, with the drinking came the drug use. It was really cocaine and whiskey were my two best friends. Cocaine and whiskey were amazing. And it got to the point where, at one moment it was normal, everything was fine. And then the next moment, like that alcoholic mind, the ism of the disease, it took over, it spread, I kind of look at it like it spread like a vicious weed does in a garden. It just overtook everything in my life. And so it got to the point where I had totally disconnected my family. I had tried to get sober a couple times, but I was not getting sober for myself. I was getting sober for my family. And so I started to resent it. So I went back out. I did more research. And so then there was a moment, and I'll never forget this moment, after, I had gone back out a couple times. I was walking back home, with a bottle in hand, and I, was walking into my house, and I had tripped up the stairs, and I just the bottle slid across the floor, and I was on the ground. And it was one of those moments where I could feel my body shutting down, Vanna. It was a moment where, I just looked up above, and, God had spoken to me. And it was one of those moments where, he was there with my grandma and one of my aunts, and he was, he looked at me and he was like, "Are you going to join us, Michael, or are you going to live? What are you going to choose?" It was a pretty profound moment. Just talking about it gets me all emotional. And I was like, I'm done. It was in that moment. I reached for my phone. I called my father. I went to rehab the very next day, and it was in rehab towards the end of it that I was like, I knew that God did not get me sober to live a small life. And I knew unequivocally that I wanted to give people that hope that, change is possible. It absolutely is. I am a walking, living, breathing proof that change is possible. You just have to become willing. So as soon as I got out of rehab, I did a lot of research on coaching programs. I came across IIN and HCI, and Health Coach Institute just really resonated with me. And so I immediately signed up. And I have never looked back. I quit my corporate job and I was like, I am here to be that light. I want to be that light bringer. Vana, it's really important to me to be that person for people.
What a beautiful and powerful story. We did not talk about that when we met the other day, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us. I literally was covered with goosebumps when you talked about that moment, laying on the floor. And I appreciate the fact that you recognize that God was there at that moment. That's really awesome that you were able to take that moment, because really right then was a choice. You could have gone either way.
Yeah.
And that's one of my messages, is that we have choices all the time. And I mean, every minute of every day, we get to choose whether we're going to take the right hand or the left hand, and that can change everything. So thank you for taking the choice that you did, because you are changing lives. My next question for you is, as we both know, coaching is, not everybody gets it. And it's one of those things where, because we are where we are, we know the power of it, and we believe in that. But it takes a while sometimes to break through to the world. When was it, can you tell me, was there a moment when you were like, wow, this really is it, and I really am going to change lives?
I have to say it was probably, I would even say, just a couple months in to the studies of it, and just realizing that coaching is very different than therapy. And so it was really one of those things that what I loved about the coaching method is that we are here to champion people through whatever struggle that they're going through. We are here to, hold them accountable, to really empower them. And, and that was always my deal when I got out of rehab. I wanted to empower and inspire. And that's what coaches do. Like I unequivocally believe, like, our method of being able to focus on what they want in the future is so big, instead of focusing on the past. I am all about forward movement. That is why my coaching is called Make Shift Happen. That is my brand, because I am all about making movement, making shift. And so it was just, I think it could have even been the first coaching sequence that I was going through, that I was like, you know what? This is exactly where I need to be. And this is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, because it is just powerful. The way we interact with clients, it is powerful. And it is also just it's a big, just the love, I guess I'll say to it, the love behind what we do. I don't know, Vana, it's huge. I really think, I love just the forward movement that coaching provides.
Oh, beautifully stated, and I couldn't agree more. It's like I said, it's really hard to explain to people until they experience it, and that's why when I'm talking to people, I just invite them into that experience, because there's just no other way to quantify or verbalize what it is. I have another question for you that I didn't prepare you for, but I think it's important. You're a young woman. And I'm one of the things that I see, and I started drinking at a way too young age myself. I don't have, we could sit and talk for hours, I'll bet, on drinking stories, and I don't want to go in that path. But what I do want to ask is, do you have a message or a way that we can get words out to young people to try and ward them away from this path, and let them know that there is a better way?
If it's funny, people ask me that all the time, like, what would I say to younger people about it? I would say, like, that it's not cool, right? I mean, I know that sounds so weird, but just to let them know that, like, you don't, like, you don't, like, life has so much more to offer, like, to just allow yourself that chance. It's one of those things, like, I feel like so many of us do it. I know that I did it in the beginning to fit in, or because I wasn't comfortable in my skin. And so what I want to offer to this younger generation is that if you are feeling that way, to continue to reach out. And I want to tell you that it's okay to feel uncomfortable, to be able to just reach out and ask for that help, ask for guidance. You don't have to go down that path because of being afraid of not fitting in or not being comfortable with who you are, is what I would say. So I would say, it's not cool. And I would also say, ask for help. Like, asking for help is the most powerful thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That's beautiful. And, I have 2 teenage granddaughters that are going to be with me this weekend, and they will be listening to this episode because I want to start with them young to realize that, again, there's a choice, and one can be devastating. So another question that I would like to ask is, a lot of my listeners are listening, and maybe they have that longing in their heart. There's something that they want to do, that God's whispering in their ear saying, this is where I need you to be. And it's scary to step out and do that. Is there any advice that you would give to people, not necessarily on the addiction realm, but just in life itself, as far as getting over that fear and stepping into that calling? Do you have any advice for folks that way?
I would say that, I always say just to have that faith, like, to trust the process, to really, if you are feeling a calling for something that you are not currently doing, but you want to do it, you have to go for it. All I can say is that, one of the biggest, regrets, so many of my friends are even in today are just like, I'm not going to do it because people are so scared of what other people are going to think, or that they don't have the answer, or they don't know how in the world they're going to get there. And I invite you to be okay with that, to be okay with knowing that you don't have to know all the answers. But what you do know is that there is something inside of you that is calling you, and to not suppress it, but to acknowledge it and to just go for it. All I have to say is to go for it, and to be able to even voice it out loud, if it's just to a good friend or a family member, to say, you know what, this is what I'm going to do, to just be able to own it. It's the most beautiful thing to be able, because we are all our own person. We are all on this planet to not be the same, but to be different. And if you have a calling, you have to take that. I just unequivocally believe you just have to have that faith, and to trust. Like, it's like driving at night, Vana. You don't always see like that your end point. You just have your headlights on, and to just trust that you will get there. You just have to have that faith.
Oh, such wise words from such a young woman. Thank you so much. I love that. Okay, so if there are listeners out there that are struggling, they have their whatever addiction it is that they're struggling with, and they're being triggered right now. God's whispering, it's time. It's time. We need to do something here. How could they get a hold of you, or what's the step that they should take to start that path to recovery?
The best way to get a hold of me is to go to my website, which is michaelarnoldcoaching.com, or to even go on to, if you are on social media, you can go to Facebook, Michael Arnold Coaching, or you can go to my Instagram, which is at @marnoldcoaching, and send me a message or book a call. It is very easy to do that. take that. And I know that first step can feel like a 10,000 pound door, but just, give yourself that chance and book a call. I always say, just get to that point where you love yourself enough to say, you know what, I'm going to allow myself this opportunity to hear what is possible for me in this moment of darkness.
Yes. So, just so that people are clear, they don't have to be in your area of the world to work with you. Is that correct?
They do not. I work with people all over the world, Vana, and I work with them through either on the phone or on FaceTime or Zoom or Skype. So it does not matter where you live. We can still establish the most amazing, beautiful connection as long as you have a phone. So have a phone or a computer, and I'm here for you to be able to see you during our sessions, and to be able to make shifts happen in your life.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Okay. Talking about shift, we're going to make a little shift right now. I want you to tell me something that you love to do that revives your soul.
So what I absolutely love to do, every morning, because one of the biggest things, I always say, I'm really focused on divine love. And to me, love is all power. And, and I know to some people, Vana, that's like woo woo, but I am telling you right now, to act from love every day, should be everybody's baseline. And so what I do whenever I need that inspiration, I literally have posted in my bedroom and also out in my office, the Corinthians 13:4-8, the love verse. And I would love to just read a couple of the sentences that I read to myself and I look at when I get in those moments of, if I might get restless, irritable, discontent, or I might be frustrated. I just look up and I read simply, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, it always hopes, and it always perseveres.
Amen.
Amen.
I actually, a girlfriend cross-stitched that for me and it's hanging on my wall. She made it for me for our wedding. Well, she didn't make it for me. She made it for me and my husband for our wedding 30 some years ago. And it's one of my prized gifts. And so, yeah, thank you for sharing that today. That is so beautiful and so absolutely true. Love can heal all wounds. Beautiful. Oh, girl, this has been wonderful. I want to thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your wealth of wisdom. Do you have any last thoughts that you would like to share with us this morning?
No, I just want to say first, thank you so much, Vana. And I just want to say to anybody out there, if there's anything that is calling you or that you are struggling with, whatever it may be, I want you to know that you do not ever feel that you are alone. Nobody is alone in this world. And I'm telling you right now, don't ever be afraid to ask for help. Please do not ever be afraid to ask for help.
Perfect way to end a beautiful, beautiful interview. Girl, you are amazing. It was God inspired that we met that last few minutes. We actually rode to the airport together, which was the first time we met at our conference. And I know that God was like, oh my goodness, we're out of time. These two have to get together.
So, it was so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. I love it. So thank you so much for taking the time. Go share your joy. Go be that hurricane of happiness. And let's keep in touch, girlfriend. Love you.
Love you too, Vana.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. That was Michael Arnold. Wasn't she just a breath of fresh air? I love the energy that girl has and the complete courageous faith that she stepped into to be able to answer the call that she had on her life. What is God calling you to today? If it's time for you to step into that first step of your path to recovery, reach out to Michael. Ask her what she can do to help you with that. Again, to find her, she's at michaelarnold.com. And just reach out to her. If you have a friend that you think needs to hear this message today, please share it with them, with the love that you have for them. Don't let another day pass if they need to hear this. Thank you again for stopping in. I hope that this has been reviving to your soul this week, and I hope that you have an amazing week. Take care.